Chapter 4. Uneasy Inquiries. The following morning, the Jenkins family was still on edge from the previous night's incident. As they sat around the breakfast table, a sense of unease lingered in the air. "We need to find out more about this place," Mark said, breaking the silence. "The villagers know something. We just have to get them to talk." Sarah nodded. "Maybe if we approach them differently, they'll open up." Emma, who had been scrolling through her phone, looked up. "Why don't we go back to the village today? We can visit a few more places, talk to different people." With a plan in place, the family set off for the village. The sun was shining, but the events of the previous night cast a shadow over their thoughts. Their first stop was the local diner. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling bacon greeted them as they walked in. The diner was bustling with morning activity, and they hoped the friendly atmosphere would make people more willing to share. They took a seat at the counter, and a cheerful waitress named Betty came to take their order. After some small talk, Sarah broached the subject. "We've been hearing a lot about the history of our farm," she said casually. "It seems like people have a lot of stories about it." Betty's smile faded slightly, and she glanced around before answering. "It's an old place, all right. Been through a lot of owners. Folks around here just think it's, well, unlucky, I guess." Mark leaned in. "Unlucky how?" Betty shrugged, avoiding his gaze. "People move in, and then they move out. Quickly. Can't say much more than that." After finishing their meal, the Jenkins family continued their quest for information. They visited the general store, the post office, and even the local bar, but the responses were all the same: vague and evasive. The villagers were friendly enough, but when it came to the old farm, their answers grew short and their expressions guarded. Feeling frustrated and no closer to understanding, the family returned to the farmhouse. Deciding to focus on settling in, they resumed unpacking their belongings. Mark and Sarah worked on organizing the living room, while Emma took a few boxes up to the attic. The attic was dimly lit, with beams of sunlight filtering through the small, dusty windows. Emma carefully navigated around old furniture and stacks of boxes left by previous owners. As she pushed a box into a corner, something caught her eye: an old, leather-bound book partially hidden under a dusty blanket. Curiosity piqued. Emma pulled the book out and wiped off the dust. The cover was adorned with the same strange symbols she had seen in the shed. Her heart raced as she opened it, revealing pages filled with more of the cryptic markings and handwritten notes in a language she didn't recognize. "Mom! Dad! You need to see this!" Emma called out, her voice echoing through the attic. Mark and Sarah hurried up the stairs. Emma showed them the book, and they examined it closely. "These symbols," Sarah murmured. "They look ancient. This must have belonged to someone who lived here long ago." Mark nodded. "We need to find someone who can read these. Maybe the librarian in the village can help." As they pondered their next steps, an unsettling noise came from outside. A low, mournful howl carried on the wind, sending chills down their spines. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mark decided to check on the animals. He walked to the barn, the fading light casting long shadows across the fields. As he approached, he noticed something unusual near the chicken coop. Lying on the ground was the lifeless body of one of their chickens, its feathers matted with blood. The carcass was mangled, as if it had been savagely attacked and partially eaten. Mark's heart sank as he called out to Sarah and Emma. "Come here, quick!" They rushed over, their faces paling at the sight. "What could have done this?" Sarah whispered, horrified. "Some kind of predator," Mark said grimly. "But it's strange. We haven't seen any signs of animals like this around here." As they stood there, the uneasy feeling from the village visit returned with full force. The farm held secrets, and it seemed those secrets were beginning to reveal themselves in the most disturbing ways. Determined to uncover the truth, the Jenkins family knew they had to be prepared for whatever lay ahead. The old farmhouse, with its hidden past and eerie happenings, was proving to be far more than they had bargained for.